planet Earth is full of life. How amazing and privileged that humankind belongs to this Garden of Eden called Earth. Around 200,000 years ago, we look at the world as a participant, and more recently, around 10,000 years ago, gradually we move towards the center of this world, and now, in just 100 years, the world becomes us. Let's ponder a bit on what our ancestors were like. They probably were dazzled by the variety of lives on Earth, and learned a tremendous amount from the animals existed at the time. We used to be the prey of larger, more capable animals. We used to be at the backwater of the life's pyramid. Of course, now we are different, too easy to forget where we come from. We learn many tricks to survive the hostile, constantly changing world. We can consider ourselves lucky or smart. The key in this period was survival. We started as hunters and gatherers before we become farmers. People started living together in large groups. The practice of living in a large group with mutual understanding and dependency has become a very useful lifestyle. People benefited greatly compared to small isolated groups. Larger communities evolved into societies which in time become civilizations. Modern men and women tend to see we are the world. Or perhaps more extreme, everything exists just for us. Human being rules not only the world, but the universe. Our ego has exceeded our imagination. How do we change from a biocentric world to an anthropocentric world, in just a few hundred years? The self-centered way of seeing the world can mislead us to believe in we are the only important one. It blinds us from seeing the contribution of our prosperity from other life forms. First of all, we can't live independent of other life forms yet. Most if not all people prefer to share the world with the other animals. A human-centric only worldview can lead us to act selfishly and sometimes detrimental to other life forms. As part of the ecosystem, the departing of other animals can be a warning sign for our own existence. It will be foolish to ignore the condition of other life forms and just focus on being happy or sad in our own little world. How can we be so self-absorbed and self-centered? Why we think we are so good and so much better than other animals? We have to admit, humankind seems to have changed a lot since 100,000 years ago, but what exactly make us so different to other animals? These questions may or may not be in one's head, but by understanding the facts, may help us to think more objectively about ourselves. First of all, the human body is not that different to other animals. In terms of speed, eyesight, lifespan, size, and strength, we might be worse than a lot of existing animals. We are hopeless in swimming, flying, climbing. We are better in long-distance running. Some of our traits was considered uniquely human, but in fact animals can do the same, for example communicate via sign language, being funny, tool use and construction, have long-term memory, good at counting, self-awareness, culture, unique behavior in certain group only, have emotion. Show empathy. Individually, we might be better in some areas but can hardly claim our abilities are unique. And we didn't start with the big brain either. So our success is not just in our physical ability, our intellect is the main contributor to our accomplishment as an individual. The intellect is the combination of our level of consciousness and our know-how. We achieve that through connecting our mind to the social system where we can learn, do, and reflect on the collective wisdom of man. The one unique aspect of human is our understanding and our knowledge of the world, which provide us the ability to participate in the group activities in the modern society. A simple but cruel experiment will show who we really are. If someone was born away from the society, and left to live on an island alone, that someone will be back to the original us. Human being is amongst one of those animals can no longer live alone independently on the planet. If we were being left in the wild, we will almost certainly face death. We are so dependent on the society for food, shelter, and protection, we lost the ability to live as an independent life in the wild long time ago. So is consciousness the prerequisite of intelligence, or is it the other way round? Here is how the intellect develops. In last episode we mentioned about our ability to P for plan, M for model, L for learning, A for analyze. We break down the whole to bits. We attach names to entities. We model the scenarios and we analyze the outcomes. During the conceptualization process we learn and we adjust our knowledge base, to better handle the tasks at hand or in the future. This ability becomes more and more sophisticated. We can deal with more and more abstract ideas like freedom and harmony, social justice, project management, optimization, programming. Different people have different abilities. Some are good with music, some are best with ideas, some will be able to speak logically, some are great with singing. Individually we specialize in one or a few areas, and when our ability meets the demand, we can perform like a star. There are many ways to make a living. Not all have the luck to have the best skills and got the opportunity to utilize that skill. So we learn as we go. Some started as a mailman and turn out to be a respected CEO, some failed in school but succeed in a business venture. Regardless of the outcome, most of us will try and participate in the tragic or triumphant life of ours. Human intelligence includes both the logical and the illogical mind. Most of us inherited the culture from our ancestors, then we learn in school the basics of accumulated human knowledge. Together with the mass media we form our own moral values. Our brain pretty much understands the rights and the wrongs we call common sense. Within the social constraint, under normal circumstances, we tend to behave conservatively, but in special times, we can easily be inflamed and be influenced by others. When we being stirred up, we can collectively do things we will never do on our own. This kind of contradictory behavior is the result of our logical mind and emotional drive working in tandem. If logic rules everything, the world will not be what it is. Logic is not good or bad, it has its place, but it is not the only driver for how things be in this world. So far, artificial intelligence programming does not include emotion, but no one says it will not be introduced in the future. Logical mind bring us productivity. Part of the social contract for each productive individual is that we will follow the rules. On the factory floor, all the workers know how to behave and what to do, everyone have a role to play and certain tasks are under that role. In order to complete an assembly line, we need to do the right thing. The logical mind provides the opportunity for us to unite with our fellow human beings, and be organized in a way to support a structure to create and maintain modern institutions. Whether we are engaged in trade, manufacturing, or goods and services to the consumer market, logic is a big part of what we need to follow. After all, the material world are logical. We need to behave in a designated way so we can consistently produce the right stuff. We need to behave the right way so the process of production can be optimized. The logical side of us are the basis for our modernization and our current status quo. But that's just half of the story. Illogical mind bring us the other half, creativity. Why a rabbit will never want to go to the moon? Cause the rabbit is stupid? Wrong, it is precisely the opposite. The rabbit knows that Earth is the place where it can prosper, not the moon. The illogical part of our brain will bring us to wish for impossible or illogical destinations. Sometimes we do it either to break out the current conundrum or create some fantasy to escape from boredom. We might have aspiration to achieve many things, logical or not, but success requires more than just determination. As we mentioned in last episode, for anything to happen, the condition for it to exist must present. At the end of World War II, rocket was already invented. To travel to space is roughly 200 miles up. So space travel is much closer to reality than say 1,000 years ago. On the manifestation of human intelligence, there are people who loves to fantasize, that can be interpreted as futuristic thinking. Without the ability to go beyond the now, how boring will the world be? The whole entertainment industry is built on imagination. Our potential is usually one level above what we currently can do, and reality is where we can use our wisdom to optimize and utilize the resources to benefit all. The real essence of a logical mind is that we can establish the cause and effect, understand the roadmap, we can achieve a goal pretty much with a degree of certainty. We need to understand the limitation of our logical mind, which is that it will not automatically lead us to see all the potentials. Especially the low probability events, which is the seed to dramatic change in the future. Our dubious assumptions, never perfect, will mislead us to a destination more like a wishful thinking than reality. What are we facing today as modern man? To understand that progression is not always positive. To understand there are many cycles and some of them are a lot longer than our existence. We should not judge the value of others based on our own, will not be afraid to see the real self and have the courage to face the inner devil, our inflated ego and our prejudice.